to another edition of the Harmon Solar podcast. I'm Rob Romano, VP of Sales and Marketing at Harmon Solar. With me is my partner, as always, Ben Wolschlager. You guys know him as Mr. Everything, and we did change his title underneath there. You can see it says Mr. Everything because he did complain about being called Mr. Some Things.
I didn't complain. I was just
I know in his personal life it had some impact, so we went and changed it to Mr. Everything again.
Okay, all right.
Are you feeling better now?
Yeah, I'm feeling better. Mr. Everything. Back at it again. Let's do this.
Okay.
Season 4 of the podcast.
No. So today we've been talking about doing this, and there's a lot of things that are going on right now with elections and everything else, and some news about different installers and other things. So we would basically thought we would do almost like a current status in Arizona when it comes to solar, kind of like a State of the Union in a sense.
Yeah.
Right? So who better to do that than me and you?
Yeah, you should have changed your background, a little presidential seal.
I thought about it.
That would have been cool.
That would have been cool. America, of the Arizona flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, no thanks. Okay.
On that note. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about kind of what's going on in Arizona. We got some different things and different things that are contributing to the market right now. And then at the end, we're going to go ahead and we have some questions from listeners and viewers, and we're going to tackle some of those as well. Yeah, I don't know if any other industry is like us. We are constantly evolving.
Every 6 months.
It's not something that you just, this is how solar is, and this is how it will always be for the 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Like, I'm always learning. Like, every week, guess what? Now this changed. Now this changed. So it's constantly adapting, and as homeowners, you need to know what those changes are.
I mean, I've been doing this for almost 12 years. How long have you been doing this?
10 years, yeah. So
in 12 and 10 years, I think things changed every 6 or 8 months. Yeah. There's something that changes.
And they're not minor changes either.
Right. So the core of solar is going to always be the same, but then there's everything else around it that we constantly have to change with and adopt to. And if we don't, then that's not a good thing for us or our business. So so we bring this knowledge to you. We've been doing this a long time. So
you're welcome.
Yeah. We typically see the cycles of solar every year and how they go as far as sales and everything else. And this year has been different.
Yeah.
A little different.
I think
there's a lot of factors into that. I think it's, the economy, the election, and all these other things. But
we've had major swings.
Yeah, it's major.
Up and down.
Yeah, big time. So we're going to kind of get into what's causing that to happen and what's going on in Arizona with solar right now. So let's talk about why Arizona is the place that people want to come and sell solar, because there's a reason for that. Sure. What's the reason, Ben? Why do they come here?
Everyone always thinks the obvious reason, there's sun all the time. Sure.
Yeah, that helps.
Well, there's sun all the time in California, in New Mexico, and Texas,
that's not true.
And Louisiana, all the southern states. But you have to realize it's not just the sun factor, because there's sun everywhere in Hawaii, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
How is solar in Hawaii though, Ralph?
Bad.
Yeah, see,
very bad.
It's not always.
It used to be the best. Now it's the worst.
Exactly. It's not always sunshine and rainbows, pun intended.
Hawaii Rainbow Warriors.
So Arizona is good because we have kind of a good trifecta of things.
Right.
The sun, obviously, being one. Utility rates is favorable for solar as well. And then just the products that we have available for us.
Yeah.
All those combined makes Arizona solar great. Whereas you have states like, let's take the Northeast in Massachusetts. You know, a lot of people think like, Massachusetts is cloudy and snowy. It's not good for solar. Wrong.
It's a great place.
It's actually a great place for solar because they have other aspects that influence, their utility rates and pricing and things like that. Incentives, yes, that makes solar attractive there.
It's almost free there.
Yeah, it's
because of the incentives. It's
crazy.
Insane.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily the state that you're in and how much sun you get. It's all the factors that you have to weigh into.
Right. Market factors and conditions apply.
Yeah. And I know there's other states. I think North Dakota is another state where it's like solar is not that great, but it's okay. Right. But again, people are thinking, because they don't have sun. No, it's utility rates. It's what equipment they have. How are things handled there, incentives, things like that.
Oklahoma, which used to be okay for solar, then it got really good now because the rates are going through the roof by the utilities out there. Yeah. They've finally decided that they want people to pay more. And of course, Oklahoma is a gas oil state, right? So you have the issues there of people's mindset as, hey, we like gas and oil. We don't like renewables. You're the devil.
Right.
So, I mean, there's challenges there, but it's getting more and more popular because of what they're doing with the rates there. So there's all these conditions that are always going to affect every industry or every market for this industry.
Yep.
So Arizona, like you just said, we use a ton of power because it's god awful hot here, 6-7 months a year.
We don't really have a fall.
Okay.
We get a tiny winter and a tiny spring, and then it's hot again.
Yeah. Our seasons are hot and not as hot.
Yeah. So our usage is through the roof. Our rates are historically have been lower than most of the country until the last few years where they've really gone up, which as a solar company, you're like, okay, well, that just makes our product more viable for people as the rates continue to go up. So when the utilities continue to raise rates, you need to look at ways to, offset that. And that's what solar's for. So solar has been it's more and more, it's more beneficial for people as the rates continue to go up in this state. And they will continue to go up as you hear. So
and who knows, 50, 60 years from now, Arizona might not be a good state for solar.
It's true.
Because of incentives or other factors. It might be
nuclear winter. I mean, there's a lot of reasons.
It might turn into like a Hawaii situation where it was good at one point, but then now it's not so great.
Right.
So, Arizona, we don't know, but for right now and for the, small future ahead, I guess, for the next few years, it is a good spot for solar.
Point of reference for Hawaii, it was great until they basically overloaded the grid. Their grid's completely overloaded, and you can't put solar on it.
Yeah.
You have to have a battery to unload your power because the grid can't take it.
Right.
So, Hawaii's it's a mess.
Yeah.
I remember 7 years ago, everybody used to go out to Hawaii and sell solar.
It was fantastic then.
Yeah, it was crazy. But now it's like people, it's like stay away. And California is becoming the same thing now because of the rules that they've changed.
Yeah.
Where it's not as great as it used to be.
Yeah.
So again, to Ben's point, this stuff changes all the time. Arizona's been pretty consistent for the last 12 years. For the most part, this is the first time we've really seen, I'd say in the last 4 years, the rates have really started to climb.
Yeah.
So that's what happens though, right? As time goes on, everything goes more expensive. So that's why people come to Arizona, right? They know this is a solid market where you can come and sell solar.
Yep.
There's a lot of companies that come here.
It's easy, right? Just come here and sell solar. It's so easy.
We've talked about this in the podcast. I hate how companies come out here and just try to sell solar like the place they're from.
Yeah.
Because we're not the place they're from.
Right. Yeah.
And then when you talk to the people that are coming from the different states, they're not giving you the accurate information because they don't take the time to research. They just try to sell solar.
Right. This is how we do in Texas.
Yeah, exactly. And Texas isn't Arizona.
Exactly.
So you got to be always careful of who you're buying solar from. And then here's a big phenomenon. So I think we've all felt the impacts of the economy the last 4 years. I mean, this isn't a political statement, but it's a reality, right? The last 4 years since the pandemic,
inflation's high.
Inflation has gone up.
We know it.
Right? And it impacts everything. Our interest rates, just to give you an example, our interest rates 4 or 5 years ago were 0.49 on some of the loans.
0.5%.
Right. Think about that. And now a loan is at 8%, 9%.
Yeah.
Because and we all talk about loans have fees behind them, right? Those fees have ballooned as well.
Sure.
So if you want to try to get down to like a 4% loan, the balloon fees behind it just don't make it work.
Yeah.
So the economy has definitely impacted this industry nationwide for the last 4 years, 4.5 years. I'm going to start at the pandemic and go forward, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely impacted it. And there have been some monsters in the industry. Huge installers that, they're in like 28, 29 states. They do a lot of business. They're gone. I mean, they were billion-dollar companies 2-3 years ago that don't exist anymore.
That's crazy to think about.
Right. I mean, so think about that. There's a lot of installers in Arizona that we've known for years, and they're not here anymore.
Nope.
So what's the impact of that? There is an impact to that. And why is Harmon still here? Yeah, why is Harmon still?
I don't know.
Kidding.
We pay our bills, I guess.
So
we keep the lights on.
Well, we'll get to that in a second. So first of all, those installers going away, we know have impacted some of you because some of you have gone solar in this state through some of those companies, and they're no longer here. So what does that mean, right? How does that hurt them?
So installers that have packed up and left. So what you have to realize is, what did I get from them specifically?
Right.
What did I buy? What's the warranty that I have with them? Do I have a workmanship warranty, a roof warranty, things like that? So I got that from them. Now they're no longer here. Is my warranty still valid?
Nope.
Their workmanship warranty isn't. But like the equipment that you have, the equipment, if it's
That's manufacturer.
REC panels or Hanwha panels or whatever type of panels, that's a manufacturer warranty. Same thing with your inverter. You have Enphase or SMA or Tesla or whatever. Right. Those companies are still in business, so you still have the warranties with them. But the installer is no longer there, so their workmanship warranty is going to be separate from your manufacturer warranty. So
it's so important. We say this all that we've been saying this since day one. Know who's installing your solar.
Yes.
You have to know that. It's so important because these things can happen. And those people now, Are you in a bad place? Well, you're not in a great place. You still have solar, I'd say, which is good. It's still producing, hopefully, but when it stops producing,
Who do you call?
and you're having issues, who do you call? Ghostbusters. Right? Who do you call? You call Harmon Solar,
Right.
Because thankfully we have a very big service department, and we've taken on so many customers like this in the last 6 months because their installers are gone.
Yeah.
So-
I always relate it, and I know I've said it several times, to your check engine light.
Yeah.
Or your car, just cars in general, because it's very relatable for people. So if you buy your car from, Joe's Auto Store, it's, small little mom and pop shop that just came up, and
Joe's Auto Store.
Joe's Auto Store, yeah.
I've seen that place.
Visit them at joesautostore.com. No, and you buy a car from them. Let's say you buy a Ford Explorer, okay? And a couple years down the road, Joe's Auto Shop packs up and they're no longer in business.
Joe's gone.
Does that mean that your warranty for your Ford Explorer is gone? No. If your check engine light comes on or something that happens to your car, you can take that to any other dealer. You can take it to any other service provider and get it fixed, because their car is a Ford. It has that manufacturer warranty.
Right.
Other service providers can help fix that car. Just because your dealership is gone doesn't mean your warranty is gone. So same thing with solar. If the company that you purchased it from is no longer in business, yes, their warranties for their labor is no longer going to be valid, but your manufacturer warranties are still there. So you can you could take your solar system, not literally, by the way, to any other service provider and get it serviced. Unscrew it from your roof, pack it up.
I've got my solar system here.
It's not working.
Don't know why I'm twitching.
Because it's in your hands.
So anyway, yeah, that's the reality of what that means to the industry. So those companies that have gone away, I mean, you just, again, reach out to us. We'll help you. We can help you run the warranty jobs through the manufacturers. If they cover labor on the warranty jobs, then you're in great shape. If not, then we would have to kick in and charge you for warranty. Obviously, we can't give you their workmanship or their stuff. You're not going to. That just goes away. Your workmanship warranty is gone.
Right.
Your roof warranty is gone.
Right. We can't warrant their workmanship warranty, because what if they did a bad job? We can't cover that warranty.
And they probably did.
They probably did. That's why they're not here.
So, I mean, that's been a big impact in this state in the last 6 months. We've seen a couple or more installers go down. So if you're in that situation, never fear. Harmon's here. Oh my gosh, I did say that.
There it is.
But it is true. We are here
Tagline.
and we can help you through it. Just give our service department a call. If you're having an issue, we'll help you.
Yeah.
So at least you got someone here that can partner with you. But that is the reality of what's happening in this industry as they disappear. Harmon's not disappearing, and here's the reason why. So we've been around since 1975, so we've been here a long time.
We've seen a lot of ebbs and flows.
An ebb is, we've seen a lot. But the difference is Harmon doesn't rely solely on residential solar. That's not our only business. Mm-hmm. It's part of our business, and it's not even the biggest part of our business. It's an important part of our business, and it's a good size part, but we are big in other areas. We do a lot of commercial solar. We do commercial electrical. You see a hotel going up, we're doing the wiring a lot of times in those hotels. Yep. You see these mass buildings going up commercially and stuff. We're doing a lot of the solar parking lots and the build. We do all that kind of stuff. Yep. Plus a couple other things. Like I said, we have a huge service department. We're very diversified as a company.
With EV network?
Our EV network is big, So we're not sitting around just relying on one part of the industry to either make or break us. That's just not smart business.
Yeah, which is scary, because if that residential, section does go down, then what?
Yeah.
If you have a company that relies, 100% on one revenue stream and that goes down, well, then that's why you pack up and leave.
Yep, got to diversify your business. And during this year, we've seen a lot of the residential solar market at the beginning of the year took a huge hit.
Sure.
In Arizona and nationally because of the economy, because of the interest rates, because of the dealer fee. I mean, everything. It took a huge hit. People didn't have money to spend. The savings spread wasn't what it used to be when you get a proposal. So people were less apt to want to go solar because of that.
But what happened with the commercial industry during that time?
It blew up.
Exactly. It was just the opposite.
It quadrupled in size.
Yeah.
It was crazy, right? And then our electrical business, again, blew up. Our service business was always just steady and good. So did we feel the effect of it? Yeah, a little bit. We felt it, but not to the point of some of these companies that said, we can't do this anymore. We got to go.
Right.
So that's why it's important. Always know who your installer is. Do some research on them. See what they're in business to do. Are they just a residential solar company?
That's a good question.
That's a little scary.
Yeah. If you're, you're getting solar for your home and you're sitting at the table with a sales consultant, obviously you're going to ask them questions about your home and the proposal and all that stuff. Ask them about their company as a whole too. Right. What other revenue streams do you guys have? If they're like, none, red flag.
That's a red flag.
Red flag.
I'm not going to say it, but I always think of the movie Tommy, and when he talks about putting the warranty on the box. And,
Say the line.
no, I'm not going to say it. We have a lot of companies out here that tell you, oh, I'm going to give you this 40-year warranty. We're going to give you this 35 billion year roof warranty.
Yeah.
We'll do. And I always laugh at that.
Right.
I'm like, the warranty is only as good as the paper it's on, right? I mean, it's garbage. Look at the company. How long have they been around? What do they do? Are they stable? Because if they're not, they can tell you whatever they want to tell you. And then what happened this year? They're gone.
Yep.
Now what? Got you to buy it.
Gotcha. Yep. Thanks for signing on the line.
This is a long-term commit when you buy solar. This is a 25 to 30-year commit. You got to look at it that way. So know who you're getting installed from.
Ask the right questions.
Yeah, ask the right questions. So these are all the impacts that are happening in the industry. For those people that didn't ask the right questions right now, they're feeling it. So not a good thing. All right. So solar companies as well. So you have your installers like us, and then you have your companies out there. We've talked about this on one of our podcasts that are just solar sales companies, right? Now we are a hybrid. We do both. So we have an internal sales team. We have an installation crew. We do all that stuff. We also have partners that do nothing but just sell solar. We call them dealers, whatever you want to call them. They're independent sales companies. They're not bad, but I'm just saying you should do your research into them as well. Who are they working with? Who's the installer they're working with? Who are they? Where are they from? Are they local? Are they not local? Do they have a local office? If they don't, that would scare me a little bit.
Yeah. They come to us, or companies like us because they have a good reputation. They have a good install record. They have, things like that. So when you are sitting at the table with that sales consultant and like, hey, this is my company. This is, who we, sell for, ask them who's going to be installing.
Yes.
Okay. Now ask those same questions about the install company. So if Harmon's going to be your install company, if some other company sold you the system, okay, well, what's Harmon's revenue streams and things like that? How long has Harmon been in business? Because that's ultimately who's going to be installing my system, and I need to know about them.
Yeah, it's important. We partner with some good dealers. We vet the dealers the best that we can. Doesn't mean they're perfect, but we do vet them the best that we can. There's certain things we look for, certain questions that we ask. So we try to work with some of the best. Does it always work out? Not always, but it works out most of the time. So you need to watch these companies. So right now we're in November. We're post-election, and it's door knocking season in Arizona. This is when it's nice and cool. It's going to be cool till probably through about April, middle of May, where it's not unbearable. So it's door knocking season. Your doors are going to start getting knocked. And I know you've been here for any amount of years. This has been going on for a while.
I used to go out on Halloween, door knock.
Did you?
Yeah. They're gonna answer.
Yeah, we're gonna have to meet with Ben about that.
I'm just kidding. I didn't.
But yeah, so they're gonna answer. Trick or treat. Want to buy solar?
That was my pitch.
They give you candy, you give them a pamphlet.
Yep.
That's actually not a bad idea.
That's the only kind I have. Good ideas.
No, I wouldn't say that.
No.
But it's door knocking season, so your door is going to start getting knocked. You need to start, when that happens, just make sure if you get into a conversation, ask the questions we're telling you to ask. Because some companies, and not all of them, but there are some companies out there that will come in here and they'll fly in 20 guys and they'll go and they'll hit neighborhoods and they'll sell for as high as they can sell, and then they get out.
They're called blitzes.
Yeah, they do solar blitzes. So beware of solar blitzes. They're very popular in Arizona. They're like a bunch of roaches that they go out there and they go all over the neighborhoods and they do everything that they can, and then they leave.
You see a big van pull up and 20 guys hop out. You know what's going to happen.
See if the guys that you're working for are local. I think it's important. And who they're partnered with, that's also important. So you have two things to really look at. Very, very important. But watch out for that because that's going to be happening right now. Just know who you're buying from and know who's installing. Those are the two. If you haven't learned anything at all on this podcast, who are you buying from? Who's doing the installation?
Yeah.
Really look into those two things.
Yeah, because a lot of people just look at the price. Like, oh, it's a good price. Yes, it is a good price. But you might have to pay for it in the end.
What do they say? The pain of the low price. I can't remember what there's a whole saying about it, but anyway, I'm not that smart.
You're old. There's old sayings, words of wisdom.
Anyway, the other thing I really kind of wanted to focus on is the election does have an impact. It's had an impact on this market.
Sure.
We talked about the economy and what it's done to the industry over the last couple of years. Economy is key in this business. I mean, we need interest rates to be down and we need fees to be down in order to create that good spread for you to make good money on your solar investment. That spread was here. It's done this.
Yep.
It's starting to do this again. So it's starting to be a really good time to start looking into solar again. And I think with the results of the election, you're going to see if the economy changes the way people think it will, the way the experts think it will, these next few years, especially for solar, could be really good.
Yeah.
So watch the economy and how it moves. It definitely impacts what you can make. And obviously it impacts what you can spend, because we've seen it the day after the election, our business picked up 200%. Like that.
It was
because
crazy,
now people are like, they feel, there are people, and on that whatever side, feel that, hey, I think I'm going to have money going forward. I feel good about the results and I want to spend. Or some people probably just said, I'm glad the dang election's over. I don't want to hear that noise anymore. I just want to get back to life.
Just back to life.
Whatever. It doesn't matter what side you're on. It's just a point of a country right now has got a good vibe and people are starting to spend money again. And we're seeing it. We had Mike Wiley here for the real estate guy not too long ago, and he was saying the same thing. He saw it right after the election for houses that started having showings and stuff that weren't showing.
Yeah.
So that's all a great vibe going on. So take advantage of the good vibe, I would say.
There you go. Another Harmon Solar tagline.
You know, and then another thing to think about is the ITC. You know,
That's big.
You know, what changes will happen with the ITC because of the election? What's the impact on the ITC? That's a question we're hearing a lot too. The answer is I don't know.
Yeah, the truth is we don't know. There's a lot of speculations of where it's going to go and how it's going to, phase out, or if it'll phase out, things like that. The truth is no one knows.
Nobody does.
Nobody does.
And what they look at is when a Republican is in control, typically they're gas and oil focused, and they don't really like renewables a whole lot, but they compromise sometimes.
Right.
When Trump was in office in 2016, it wasn't bad for solar. It was good for solar.
Yeah.
You figure when the Democrats get in office, they're very pro renewable, so things get better as far as the renewable industry. So yes, the policy got a little better. The ITC got extended and all that, but the economy did bad, so it actually hurt the business. So it was, double-edged sword in a sense. But we'll watch that and we'll kind of see where that goes. I'm pretty optimistic about
again,
going forward.
We've been around since the 70s. I think we've seen major changes. Yeah,
it does this. It's called the solar coaster, right? For a reason.
Yeah, we've been there. We've done that. Whatever the economy or politics throws at us, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah. So the state of Arizona is, hey, things are good right now. They're getting better.
Sure.
We're getting into the heavy season for people that are going to come in here and install solar. So you need to arm yourself and be careful. That's why we give you these podcasts. These podcasts are your ammunition, right? Take these podcasts, listen to them, understand them. So when someone knocks on your door, if you're interested in solar, you can ask the right questions. You can do the right things to protect yourself and your family if you want to go solar.
Invite them in and then have them watch the podcast with you. Come on in. Sit down. I'm going to show you something.
You have no idea the amount of people that I've heard from in the last year. We've been doing this for over a year now. It's been over a year that we've been doing podcasts.
Is it? Wow.
Yeah.
Look at that.
And the amount of people that reference this podcast in those sit downs. I've heard about it from
I'm not crying, you're crying.
No, I've heard it from companies that are out there selling. I've heard it from people that have bought solar. I've heard it from our customers that come to us because of the podcast. I think mission accomplished. We set out to do something. We set out to arm people.
Where's the applause button?
Yeah, we need applause right now. But we did. We had our mission. We set out to arm people with knowledge so that they can protect themselves. And I think we've done it. And we're hearing that feedback now more than ever.
Yeah.
It took about a year, I think, really for it to really kick in.
Sounds about right.
And it's really kicked in now.
It's good.
So I'm glad we were able to do that. So,
Yeah. I'm not gonna take all the credit. Ralph deserves some of it.
You do, I do.
At least 20% of the credit, Ralph.
Even Hannah deserves some of it.
Maybe. Let's not get crazy.
And we'll keep doing this and we'll keep bringing you new things. Obviously, we've slowed down a little bit because we've hit so many things.
Yeah.
But we really thought it'd be important to at least give you a state, hey, this is what's going on in Arizona right now. This is where we stand. And we're looking to a really bright future in solar. I think the next 4 years are going to be phenomenal. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So that's the good news. Now, we also have, anything else you want to hit on that?
Nope.
Okay. and Ben's gone. So we do have some questions from viewers and listeners. So we're going to hit some of those too.
Oh, Q&A say.
We do have a Q&A session.
Let's do it.
So let's do a Q&A session. And it's funny is that a lot of them apply to what we're saying. So here's the first one.
I did not prep for this, by the way.
Yeah, no, I just got these.
Yeah.
As we sit mid-November 2024, what incentives are there for me to going solar? What qualifies me, disqualifies me, et cetera? There's a whole lot in that question.
Yeah.
So what incentives are there?
It's still the same as it was last month. They still have your federal tax credit and state tax credit. That hasn't changed.
Right.
So
and
nothing new.
But let me say this. So if you're sitting there going, it's November to now, it's mid-November right now. I can buy this and get it installed and I can use the tax credit by the end of the year. No.
Good luck.
You're not going to get
It's not going to happen.
The way this industry works with all the companies and all the jurisdictions that we rely on to get things done. If you buy solar right now, you're not going to have it installed and ready to go by the end of the year.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
I've told people that many times, come to our warehouse. We have the crews, we have all the equipment, we have things. We can install your stuff tomorrow if we wanted to, but it's not up to us.
Right.
There's protocol, there's other jurisdictions, there's other things that we have to do in order to get it installed. There's other entities involved.
Right.
Permit offices, a utility company, things like that. So we're at their mercy.
Yep. So incentives haven't changed. They're what they were. What qualifies you or disqualifies you? Well, we've talked about that too. It could be your credit, could be your money situation, your home, your house, your usage, your orientation. Go back and watch the podcast.
Watch Solar 101.
Yeah.
That'll qualify you.
That's what qualifies you and disqualifies you. Nothing's changed there. Okay, next question. Can my HOA prohibit me from going solar?
Yes and no. 99.99% of the time, the answer is going to be no. They can't do anything about it. But there are some times where if it's in like a historical district where they can say, you can't have it on, facing here, or you can't have it at all. But again, those are small outliers in certain communities, like what downtown Phoenix, things like that. But majority of the time, the HOA cannot say, you can't have your solar system on your roof. They can. It's kind of a weird rule. They can say things like we don't want your panels here, but according to the federal government, basically, they can't make a decision based off of if it'll impact your production. So as long as it doesn't impact production, they can make a decision on it. Which is weird because if the HOA says we don't want your modules here, we want it over here, well, that's going to impact production, moving it.
AZ Senate Bill 1254.
Yeah, that's what I was going to reference.
Go look it up. It basically protects this is from July 2007. It stipulates that a homeowner association may not prohibit the installation or use of solar energy devices.
There you go.
So they cannot tell you no legally.
Right.
They could ask you to move panels like Ben just said or set it up differently. As long as it doesn't create a cost for you over and above what you're paying,
right,
they can do that. If it creates an over and above cost to you, no.
Yep.
According to the bill. And again, the other thing about that, there I can think of one HOA in the Valley that says, nope, you're not installing solar.
Should we put their name on them?
No. And it comes down to, do you want to have that fight with that HOA? You'll win, but you may lose other things, if you know what I mean.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
the second a blade of grass or a weed comes on your lawn,
right,
you're going to get that fine.
And that HOA is an affluent area HOA, so that's the best I'll say.
Okay.
So you have to decide if it's worth it to you or not at that point.
Can we put their phone number at least?
No.
Okay. Can't do anything.
That's all I'm going to say. I'm not saying where it is.
Can you give us a hint?
I'm not going to say that it's close to a hill. All right. Anyway, so I hope that answers that question.
Okay.
Is it true that solar panels do not directly power your home, but power the grid instead? And that's where the buyback comes from the utility when you produce more than you use. Let's read that again.
I kind of understand.
Go ahead.
So your system is on your roof. It's going to produce power. That power has to go somewhere. Right. It's going to go to your house first, and then anything extra goes to the grid.
Yeah.
Done. That's the simplest way to put it.
Is it true that solar panels do not directly power your home? No, that's not true.
It goes to your home.
They go to your home, and then your home tells the electricity where to go.
Right.
Whether it tells it to go into the house because you need it,
right,
go into my battery because my battery needs to be picked up, or I don't need any of this, send it back to the grid.
Exactly.
So you make the decision.
And there's times during the day where your system is 100% powering your house, but you still need extra, so you're pulling from the grid. So at that moment in time during the day, you could be getting power from both.
Yeah.
The solar system and the grid. Yeah, it happens in summer. Yeah. But now, my AC is not running, my heater's not running, nothing's on, nothing's running really in my house. I'm not even there. So, I'm not pulling a lot of electricity. So solar system in that case would be pushing all that power to the grid basically, because there's nothing running at my house.
Yeah. And that's where the buyback does come from. Yeah. So when you don't need the power and you send it back, that's the buyback. So yeah, it's a good question actually. Next, is it illegal to be off grid in Phoenix, Arizona or any surrounding areas? It's not illegal.
Not illegal. It's just
it's a decision.
Costs a lot.
It's the utility's decision if they allow it.
Most people will tell you that they don't allow it. I know we used to say that for years, but we've talked to a few of the utilities, and they'll say they allow it, but then they give you a list of things that you have to do to qualify. The amount of money that you'll spend just to do the things that they want you to do, you might as well just buy another house.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's pretty crazy. So it's definitely not worth going off grid in Arizona. Now, if you're in the outside areas where there's really no grid, well, then of course you're off grid.
Right.
So that's what you do.
Yeah, that's what I tell people. If you have your house and you've already started off the grid, well, then you're off the grid.
You're off the grid.
If you have your house and you're in a metropolitan area like the neighborhood behind Ralph right now, you are on the grid. So you've already on established grid right now.
Yeah, you can go off.
You can go off.
If you've got that kind of money, go for it. I don't. That would be insane. So anyway, I hope that answers that question, because that's actually a common question we get. And no, it's not illegal.
No, yeah, a lot of people will say, "Hey, I want to get a solar system on my house, and I want batteries because I don't want a bill from my utility company. I want to be completely off the grid." I'm like, well, guess what? You're still going to be connected to that grid with just your solar system and your battery.
Yeah,
You're connected.
I have an off-grid 2K system in my backyard that powers a mini split and things in my garage.
That's it.
That's off-grid.
That's off grid.
But it doesn't power my house.
Right.
So if it were to power my house, I'd have to play by the rules and connect it and do. There'd be a bunch of stuff. Sure. That's not what it is. It's more of a vanity project.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's if you live in the metro area, you can do it. Just you're going to pay for it. Not worth it. I can just install dual pane windows and add more insulation in the attic, right? It'd be the same savings but less maintenance.
Interesting.
That's a good question.
I say, go ahead.
Go for it.
Go for it.
There's a misnomer in the industry. So a lot of people are into selling the windows and all that stuff. And that's great. Whatever you can do to make your house more efficient, depending on the age of your house, sure. I know that there's people in the industry that have said, oh yeah, if I do that, I get a 30%, efficiency savings and this and that. I've looked into that. That's not true.
Yeah.
At all. It's not even close. It's more like 10%, maybe, depending on what you do. And I don't know if numbers you looked at.
Yeah.
But I've seen 10%.
I haven't looked at the numbers, but I do tell people do all those energy saving tips,
Right.
Double pane windows, insulation, all that stuff. It's just going to help reduce your bill, but it's not going to be as dramatic as what solar can do.
No way.
Because let's say just in APS alone, if you're normally paying APS, let's say, I don't know, $3,000 a year. Again, we look at it holistically a year. So you're paying $3,000 a year for power. And then you get solar and you have some bills in, January, maybe early February, but then March, April, and May, you're in the negatives. I don't think you can get a negative bill when you have double pane windows and insulation. So that's probably not going to happen because during those months, you're pushing power to the grid and they're buying it from you. So that's how you get that negative bill. And then summer months, you might have, a couple $100 here and there, and then it goes back down to zero or negatives in around this time. So holistically, you have, probably about a $500-$600 total bill annually. So you went from $3,000 to $600 in APS because of solar.
It's kind of like putting a turbo on your car.
Elaborate. Go ahead. I mean, I get it, but for the people that don't.
It's kind of like you have a high-performing car and you want to make it go a little faster. Mm-hmm. You put something like a turbo or whatever else you can put on a car to make it a little bit more faster, right? Give it a little bit more horsepower.
Sure.
Or putting one of those chips in your car to make it a little quicker, right? You can help solar. Solar is going to be the monster. Solar is the engine. You can help that engine by maybe doing windows or doing more insulation. It all helps, like what you're saying. Mm-hmm. So go ahead and do all of it. We have a lot of solar partners that sell you solar. They'll also put windows on it. They'll do doors. Mm-hmm. They'll do insulation. All these different things. So it all works together. Yeah. So
but
they're partners.
Solar's the engine.
Solar is the engine. Everything else is the things on the engine around it and stuff that help it go better.
Yeah.
So see, that was a good analogy.
You just got to.
I wasn't sure where I was going in the beginning.
Specify the car at first. It's like putting a turbo on a Bugatti.
It's a 2007 Yugo.
Okay.
All right. We kind of talked about this already. Will the solar industry be affected by the election results, pro or con? So
we'll see.
Yeah, we don't know. We think so.
Yeah.
Again, it's the economy. If the economy gets better, obviously that affects everything.
We've been through a lot of presidents so far at Harmon. We've seen a lot of financial crises so far at Harmon, and here we are. We're still there. We had the housing crisis. We're still here. We had the COVID crash. We're still here. We had we've had everything. We're still here.
Yeah. So, it's a wait and see. And the answer is we'll wait and see. We think it's going to be positive. I think it's going to be positive, but that's my personal opinion. So it's not a Harmon opinion. It's my opinion.
Ralph's never wrong. So
it's very rare. You can ask my wife. If she says I am, I'll tell her she's wrong.
Next question, please.
Does the solar company receive the tax credits available if the homeowner leases the system and the homeowner does not? Not the solar company. That would be us. We're the installer. If you get a lease, the lease company takes that credit, and they give you a better price for the system as a result of taking that credit.
Right.
That's the point of a lease.
Yeah, your price should be including of that tax credit.
Right. They own the system. They take the tax credits and depreciation on that system. They give you better pricing for the power it produces.
Yeah, it's a blanket statement. Whoever owns the system gets a tax credit. So
Right.
whether you purchase it or you lease it, whoever owns it gets a tax credit.
Right.
When you purchase it, you own it. So you get the tax credit. When you lease it, you don't own it.
Right.
But somebody else does.
Right.
So whoever owns it gets a tax credit.
And you buy the power.
Yeah.
It's not your system. The one on my roof is a lease. It's not my system, but I buy the power and I buy it really cheap.
Yeah.
So it depends. And again, if you're somebody that doesn't have a tax liability and doesn't pay the government every year,
Yeah.
lease makes a lot of sense.
It depends on you and your situation.
Talk to your tax accountant. This is why you have that guy to tell you how this works.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, that's a good question. So is a home energy assessment worth it with the utility provider? And can they tell me stuff a solar salesman can't? So I know that some utilities actually do those assessments.
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth it?
I don't know how much they charge.
I don't either.
I would have to know how much they charge to know if it's worth it. So that should probably tell you the answer, because have I ever done one?
Yeah.
No,
No,
because I'm in the industry, so I know what to look for in my own home. If I wanted my own energy assessment, I could just do it
I think they're
myself.
free.
Yeah.
I think they are
Third-party
free.
ones aren't.
Third-party ones are like $100.
Yeah.
But I think the utility will do something like that for free because they come and they look at light bulbs and they look at all these different things.
Well, then if it's free, the answer is always yes, it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not going to cost you anything,
go ahead, do it.
listen to them. I mean, can they tell you what a solar salesman can't?
Depends.
Yeah, I mean, a solar salesman should know solar like the back of their hand and understand what it can do for you. They should understand the things around it that contribute to your energy as well. It just depends on the sales guy.
It depends on the sales guy. It depends on the person you're talking to at the utility, because I've talked to people, solar salespeople, and I'm just like, wow, you don't know anything about solar. And how long have you been doing this?
Yeah.
Then I've talked to other solar salespeople, and like, wow, you do know a lot.
Yeah,
great.
It just depends.
I've talked to people at the utility company, and like, wow, you don't know anything about solar, do you?
Yeah.
But then I've also talked to other people at the utility company and go, yeah, you do know what you're talking about. So it's going to depend.
I agree. I mean, I don't think it's a replacement for talking to somebody about solar, especially if you're talking to Harmon.
I'm all about getting more information, though.
Yeah, I'm an information guy too, so get it. Especially if it's free, why wouldn't you at least listen to what they have to say and then match that to what a solar guy can tell you and see how it all fits together?
Yeah.
And if it still doesn't make sense, give us a call. We'll kind of guide you through it.
Yeah.
It's a good question, though. I knew that those things are out there. Am I better off not going solar than going solar with a lease? I don't know.
I don't know your situation. Is your house under a forest of trees? So no, you shouldn't get solar if you have shading issues.
Right. If you're in a house or you're in a situation where solar makes sense, then the answer is you're better off going solar.
Right.
If you're in a situation where you're not paying high bills and your house is terrible for solar, then you probably shouldn't go solar.
Right.
So,
I've told people,
depends.
Don't get solar because of your situation. And then I've told their next door neighbor, you should get solar because of your situation.
Right.
It's going to depend.
How many times have we said it's specific to you? This is not a cookie. This is not a cookie cutter situation. Right. Solar. It is very customized to you and how you live in your home.
And that doesn't matter if it's a purchase, a lease, cash. Doesn't matter.
Go watch Solar 101.
It's you and your situation. Yeah.
That's in all of that's covered in Solar 101. Go watch it. But still, it's a common question. Mm-hmm. How much does it cost? No, this is not that. Okay. Will homeowners insurance cover the panels? No. But now, this is a tricky question, too.
Yeah, but you have a warranty for the panels. The manufacturer covers the panels.
I think where you're... Yeah, homeowners insurance, that doesn't have anything to do with that. I mean, I'm thinking in a business sense, it's just totally different and not reply to this conversation. So no, the manufacturer covers your panels. The homeowner's warranty, it covers your home. Mm-hmm. So if there's damage that happens as a result of something with the solar...
Hail or baseball or something like that.
Oh, I mean, if that stuff happens, I mean, that's
The solar manufacturer won't cover that.
They don't cover that. But again, I don't know what the question's asking specifically, if it's what type of damage or malfunctions. So if it's malfunctions or the system's not producing as it should, that's not the homeowner's insurance.
No.
That's the manufacturer. But if there's damage to the system because of weather or baseball or something like that, then
we know the manufacturer won't, because they don't cover acts of God.
Right.
And that's when you would look at, or whoever it is, that's when you look at your homeowner's insurance to see if they would help you.
Right.
Something like that, I guess. Okay. I'm not a homeowner insurance expert. You really should do in that situation is talk to your homeowner's insurance and see what they do or do, because a lot of those are very different as well. So that's a tough question. Let's see here. Well, I've heard leasing is a huge no. Is lease to own any better?
Lease to own.
Okay, I don't know of any.
They don't know lease to own companies, but
and not in this
you
state.
Probably heard leasing was bad because of a company that came to you that didn't provide a lease option.
Exactly.
So that they came to you, hey, this is what we sell, and everything we don't sell is bad. Like, no, that's not how it works.
Gosh, that is so common.
It is common. So, and the same thing with leasing companies, they do it too. They go, hey, leasing is great, and everything we don't sell is bad. Like, no, just because you don't sell it doesn't mean it's bad. At Harmon, we do leases and purchases, so it doesn't really matter because we know the pros and cons to each. So leasing isn't bad. It might be bad for you in your situation, but it might be fantastic for someone else in their situation, like Ralph. Ralph leases his system because it was great for his situation.
Yeah.
It
depends on you. You don't go to a Mercedes dealer and start saying, hey, I want to go buy a BMW. They're going to tell you, why would you do that? BMWs suck.
Yeah.
Mercedes are the way to go. Right?
Exactly.
That's the exact situation we're talking about here. So again, some of the key things for a lease. Do you have a tax liability? Do you pay the government money back every year? If you do and you need a tax write-off, makes a lot of sense to buy it and take those credits.
Sure.
You don't have that liability. Maybe you don't really have much of an income. You're an older person and you're on a fixed income and you want to lease a fixed lease because that's all you can deal with and you can't take advantage of the credit. That can make sense for you. It's just, again, like Ben just said, customizable to your situation.
Solar 101. Watch it.
Solar 101 will answer all these questions. I'm very disappointed in you guys that didn't watch Solar 101 and ask these questions.
Yeah.
So I need you to go back and watch that, and then I need you to report back to me. And that's all the questions we have.
Oh, okay.
It's a lot of questions. Not like the 30-something we had that one
good
time.
Questions, and we get them a lot, though. We get the same questions over and over, but that's okay.
So I hope that helps. So we've been able to provide you kind of an update on what's going on in Arizona, answered some of your questions. I hope you got a benefit to some of the information we shared. And Ben, is there anything else that you can think of that you want to share right this moment?
Not that I can think of.
I bet you there is. You just don't want to talk about it. But anyway, we're going to come back, and we've got we're trying to put something together, something very, very special for a podcast that we've never done before, that we've talked about and danced around the topic. But I think we're just about there, and we might get this together for you. So stay tuned. Keep a watch out for the next Harmon Solar podcast. I think it's going to be shockingly interesting.
Ooh, play on words.
Shockingly interesting. Hey, thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.